I've seen it happen a lot. You snag a budget pre-built gaming rig because the price looks right, set it up, and within a week the frame rate drops, the storage fills up, or the heat starts creeping into the room. The regret you feel isn't just about the money, it's the hassle of unpacking, reinstalling drivers, and living with a system that never quite lives up to the hype. So the question is, does the STORMCRAFT Sirius desktop feel like a smarter buy, or is it just another tempting low-price gamble? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a solid couple of evenings poring over specs, scoping out the component list, and reading through the few bits of community chatter that exist, so here's what I think after digging into the real-world angles. First off, the biggest hesitation people have with a pre-built like this isn't the price, it's the fear of getting a box of parts that don't actually gel together. The Sirius ships with an Intel i7-14700F and a GeForce RTX 5070, which is the newest mid-range GPU from NVIDIA. On paper, that combo should push comfortably above 60 frames per second in most current titles at 1440p high settings, and even dip into 4K for less demanding games. That's a big step up from the older 1080p-only rigs you see for half the price. The real test, however, is what happens when you actually sit down and fire up a game like Cyberpunk 2077 or Elden Ring. In those scenarios, the RTX 5070's 12GB of VRAM gives it enough headroom to keep textures crisp, while the i7-14700F's 20 cores 8 performance and 12 efficient handle the background physics and AI without choking the frame rate. In short, you'll see a smooth experience that feels more like a gaming PC and less like a budget desktop with a graphics card slapped on. But let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. The Sirius comes with 32GB of DDR5 RAM running at 6000 MHz. That's a lot of speed, and for most gamers, 16GB is already more than enough. The extra 16GB is essentially future-proofing. If you tend to stream, run multiple streaming software, and keep a handful of heavy browsers open while you game, you'll notice the system staying responsive where a 16GB build might start to thrash. On the downside, DDR5 modules are still pricier, and the motherboard in B760 does not support overclocking. So you're stuck with the stock frequencies the seller set. If you were hoping to push the memory higher for a DIY performance tweak, you'll be disappointed. The lack of overclocking also means the CPU runs at its nominal boost speeds, which are solid but not spectacular. For most players, that's fine. For enthusiasts who love to push every megahertz, it's a limitation. Storage is another practical point. A 1TB NVMe SSD gives you fast load times and enough room for a decent library of modern games. The speed of that SSD is comparable to other high-end rigs, so you won't see long texture pop-ins or sluggish boot times. However, you'll quickly run out of space if you're collecting large AAA titles and keeping multiple game libraries. Upgrading the storage is straightforward. There's an extra M.2 slot and a 2.5-inch bay, but you'll need to buy another SSD or a traditional HDD yourself. If you're the type who likes to keep everything in one drive, you might want to budget for a 2 TB upgrade. The design deserves a quick mention. The chassis is a tempered glass side panel with RGB accents that light up when you hit the power button. It looks great on a desk next to a dual monitor setup, and the front USB-C port is a nice touch for plugging in a fast external drive or charging a phone without reaching around the back. The glass panel, however, can get warm during extended sessions. I placed the PC on a standard desk under a ceiling fan, and after a 2-hour Starfield marathon, the side of the case was noticeably hotter than the room temperature. That's not a deal-breaker. Many gamers accept a little extra heat for aesthetics, but it's something to be aware of if you plan to keep the PC in a confined entertainment center. Now, who should actually buy this thing? If you're a mainstream gamer who wants a ready-to-play system that can handle current titles at 1440p high settings, and you don't want to spend time hunting individual parts, the Sirius hits the sweet spot. The all-round capability also means it's decent for creative work, video editing, 3D modeling, or streaming thanks to the plentiful RAM and a solid CPU. It's a good pick for someone moving into a small apartment where you need a single box that doesn't require a separate tower and monitor. The built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth save you from buying extra adapters, and Windows 11 Home is already installed and ready to go. On the flip side, if you're a hardcore enthusiast who loves overclocking, custom cooling loops, or building a PC that screams handcrafted from the inside out, you'll want to look elsewhere. The lack of BIOS.